Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to
Hey,
this um, second open talk by motion sickness, and it's good to see a lot of people here. Many of you who are already a part of the community, but um, if you're new here, just a quick intro to what motion sickness is about and how it came to be. So it's essentially a community space which we started off because we felt like we personally we were feeling like there's a disconnect between things that are happening, and also we wanted like to be a part of the local conversations because there's a lot that you see happening around the world, but what's happening here in India. Uh, so that's kind of why the idea of making a space just for Indian motion designers came to be. And now over the last few months, we have about more than 50 people, I think, on the Discord server, and also the Instagram page is where the community has been active. And it's been great to connect with people on a similar journey. And this is also why I'm really excited about today's talk, is because the speaker today is someone whom I connected with because of motion sickness and through the server. And we also uh, got a chance to work together on a commercial project, which is really exciting. Um, I got to see his process and sort of his way of approaching motion design, and it was really interesting. He was doing direction, storyboarding, and also a lot of the animation. And I personally got to learn a lot. And so I was looking forward to this him speaking and sharing his work. And so just to before I hand over to Raz, Raz runs a studio called Rsquare, which is Rishabh and Raz. And in a very short span, they have done some really exceptional work together. So today we'll be getting to see behind the scenes of his film called Nothing. So over to you, Raz.
thanks, Yash. Yeah, just share my screen. Let me know if you guys can see the screen. Just a second, I'll just share the tab. You guys see the screen?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, so I'll just start with a disclaimer. I really get easily get nervous, so yeah, I need to practice public speaking more. So thanks to Motion Sickness for this amazing platform. I hope you guys have a fun time today. I'll just start with a small story. I'll have the cheating notes with me. I really don't remember this. So once upon a time, there was a nobody. Nobody lived in a tiny town in Gujarat. His ideal was to become a doctor, but he also had a motion sickness. It was not quite working out. So after his 12th grade, nobody left biology and started doing this, which turned into this. So while he was playing around, he had no idea how far it would really take him. Soon nobody joined a university in Ahmedabad, but nobody met a friend. Together they made this happen. But after a while, they thought they ran out of luck. But then they got in Buck. In his final year of university, nobody wanted to create something that was close to his heart and his love for telling stories through animation. Nobody wanted to make something he truly believed in, and yet something that left room for him to explore. That's when nobody created nothing to become somebody, and that's why we all are here today. Yeah. Let me just share my presentation. Let me know if you guys can see
Alexa,
the
lights on.
enhanced project. Is it visible?
Yes, 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 visible.
Okay, I'll just play the final video first. So everybody, if anybody have not seen the video, just play it.
This is about a story of nothing. You will literally get nothing out of this. Yes, nothing. The story may have everything that a story usually has: a beginning, middle, and end. But it is still nothing. Is it necessary to start with once upon a time in order to convince you that this still has some validity? But I have nothing. This story is about this story itself. The story of nothing. Oh yes, the one you are watching right now. Nothing is made up of something, right? So what is nothing? Why don't we go to the internet and look it up, like we do everything else in our life? Okay. How to make sense out of the story about nothing? Does nothing mean empty? Is this story empty? When you think of nothing, what comes to your mind? Close your eyes and try to imagine nothing. Too late. Odds are you have already thought of something. Maybe the color black or white, or the word nothing. None of which is nothing. Did you think of thinking of nothing? Did you think of a black void from Interstellar? Is nothing coffee without sugar? Is nothing the endless Instagram feed you scroll? Is nothing the same as Control C, Control V we use all the time? Is nothing the empty forests? Is nothing the promise we still expect? A lot of things can be nothing, right? Pondering over nothing could be considered at best a form of meditation, and at worst, a total waste of time. Actually, nothing is about you. Nothingness is a mirror of yourself. Nothingness depends on you. Nothing is that X in the math book. Nothing is that blank canvas that comes alive with meaning, color, song, poetry, and dance that you give it. Nothing is a creative challenge. It has no fixed meaning, otherwise there would be no challenge. Nothing is more profound than any meaning or anything specific. Everything has become lorem ipsum in our lives. There is just content, but the box still remains empty. Nothing is space. It allows you to be. It allows you room to grow and to blossom. It doesn't impose anything on you. Our lives are filled with many somethings. Sometimes you need nothing to understand all those somethings. Doing nothing is the best way to understand all those somethings. Nothing is a need to be something. Nothing is here for you.
Yeah, that was the film. So I'll just start with the journey of nothing. So nothing started at my graduation project. I like in this January 2022, and it was till it lasted till I think May, so around 6 months, I guess. So for our graduation project, we were open to whatever we can do. So we can do a film, we can do a comic, we can do a newspaper, whatever. It's completely open to us. So when I was thinking about the topic for my graduation project, I was not even sure if I'm going to make a film. So when I was thinking about it, I had lots of things in my mind, and of course, internet always helps you. So so I started like collecting and like looking around for the information. Like I didn't know like what I'm going to do, but yeah, I just started exploring. So when you have lots of information and lots of data in front of you, it always like led you to confusion. So as like I think as long as confusion doesn't last too long, I think it's very essential for the learning process and like when you are like exploring new ideas and like complex like stuff. So yeah. So after like doing all of that, after looking around in the internet, like I saw like few videos, few articles, and I finally like this one topic like finally like caught my attention. It was mindfulness. So like that was I think the first step of my like reproduction journey of nothing. And then like I really got like interested in exploring that topic. So I started like looking for like more stuff about mindfulness, and like I was just enjoying. I saw few movies about it. I think I remember one was The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Um, so yeah, so for now I was just like enjoying and like playing around and like see like what's there. But for our university, like we regularly have to like update our like mentors or like whatever the like whoever the teacher is. So but I really had like nothing till now. It was just exploration and I was just having fun. And uh, there was a day, it was a review day, and I really had my eureka moment. So I think this was the most important like moment of nothing. So like today was a review day. So I'll just read the transcript of that review with my university faculty I had. So I was talking to him. So I'll just read this conversation like out loud. So faculty, hi Raz, how are you? I hope this time you have made some progress. Raz, yeah, hi sir. And faculty, yeah, sure. What is the final concept of your GP? GP is basically graduation project. So again me. So sir, like I was confused. I didn't have anything. So sir, I was just fumbling around him. So I upfrontly told him that sir, I have nothing yet. So faculty. Oh, nothing. Okay. So then again me, and that was the whole thing when I had my eureka moment and nothing like got stuck to me. And that's when I finally like decided. It was very small conversation, but yeah, that's when I finally like decided to like go with the name of nothing. And it was like kind of correlating to the stuff I read online, the mindfulness things. Um, yeah, so I was like super happy about because I finally now have the two words after 1 month.
Alexa,
One was the
turn the
mindfulness,
lights
and
off.
other was nothing. So yeah, I finally had nothing. So I got really excited about like nothing and like go forward with it. And of course, I wanted to make an animated film. So I started writing like whatever I had in mind. I was not sure if this is going to be a voiceover driven video, but I just started writing and I just started putting stuff out there, whatever I had in my mind, whatever stuff I got from internet. And yeah, then I like once I started putting the stuff, I like there was a lot of information and lots of ideas and like lots of inspiration from different movies and all of that. It was finally full of like 6-7 pages of nothing. And then after that, once I had all the information in paper, I started like because I can't use all the 6-7 pages. The video will be like even now the video is like 3.5 minutes. It will be like around 7 to 8 minutes if I use all of them. So of course I had to like filter stuff out. So I started like remixing, filtering, and like adding my like touch of quirkiness and all of that to the final script. And then I finally came up with final refined nothing script.txt. So this was the moment, like the first, like something constructive happened, like for the project, and already like the project was, like the final deadline was 6 months, and already it was like 2-3 months, I guess, like after I came up like with the final script. So I think I have few references for the initial script as well. I'll just reshare my screen again. Can you guys see the doc, Google Doc?
Yeah.
Okay. So this was the like super initial stage of me writing the script. So I started like putting like this kind of points. So I'll just read this out loud. This is the story of person who is telling the story mindlessly. He tries to write a story, but he doesn't know what he wants to say. So this was just the small premises. I usually start with like this kind of premises for my story, and then I like convert that like premise to the synopsis, and then like I write the whole script. That's the that's the process I followed in this project specifically. And yeah, this were the few like things I just started writing. And I also started like writing the arguments that like just enough of life to like being dead is that like nothingness, and if there is nothing, you still wouldn't be satisfied. Is that the nothingness? Then this was just a few lines that just like a film without a poster or a plot, a sentence without words or a full stop. So yeah, this were the few like random like lines I started with, and this was the final script. Yeah, so this was the final script I came up with. Yes. So since I'm just talking, it sounds like everything sounds very quick and straightforward, but like it's not like as easy as this sounds. Wait, I'll just share my screen again. You can see the Behance. Yeah. Yeah, so it's not as easy as this sound. So there were like lots of lots of disappointments and lots of back and forth and ups and like downs and like lots of like remixing and lots of feedback from the faculty. Yeah, so after lots of like
Alexa,
mocking and everything,
turn the lights
like
on.
finally the script was done, and this were the few initial like brainstorming I did before the script. Like this is like completely raw. So for example, if we see here, so this one. So this was one of the things I did like while writing the script. So like in one page, I just like started differentiating mindlessness and like mindfulness. So mindlessness is all about like human doings,
Alexa,
but like
turn the lights
mindfulness
off.
is like more about like human beings. What else? Engaging with the people you love and still still be depressed thinking about the past and future about the relationship. In the mindfulness, the
Alexa, turn
awareness
the
that
lights on.
arises from paying attention on the purpose in the present and in a non-judgmental way. So this were the few things I did. This was one of the interesting thing as well. So like when you can't like I usually face that problem that when I can't like write like full sentences, I just like start writing full like the keywords of the final script I would like to be. So these were the like keywords I started like writing that yeah, excited, love, experiment, unique, creativity, zombie. It's basically mind. Then human being versus human being, all time high. Yeah, all of that stuff. And this part is after I completed my script. So once I completed my script, I usually like when we usually like go about like storytelling part of the stuff, I usually try to divide the story or the script in like 3 acts. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. So Act 1 can be the intro of your film. It should be like entertaining, engaging, grabbing attention. Act 2 should be like the actual content, the complex, the problems, the confusion. It should be like little chaotic and stuff because this is the actual like content and the problem we are talking about. And Act 3 can be solution, clarity, and like conclusion. So these were the few the keywords. These were the few keywords I wrote for the visuals as well as like as per the act that like this can be the act one can be combination of both of these acts. This can be clumsy, harsh colors, confusion, chaos, mixed media collage, and act three can be simple, clean, vibrant colors, gradient, clarity, calm, all of that. The colors, typography. This was just few like lines of what I wanted to like do in terms of visuals. And these are the sketches like little doodles I did um before doing the final storyboarding. So this was like very random. I didn't know if like this even if this fits in the final script or not. But I just like started just doodling and like see like what the kind of composition I want, the how I want to use typographic colors, the mixed media style I wanted to use, all of that. Um, so this was one of the interesting thing I did. Like like so basically I started like using metaphors for because the script was kind of abstract and not too visual. So like I started just putting like few metaphors of nothing. So maybe nothing can be a dot full of gradients like just flowing inside it. And this is how that hero dot can like just move across the three acts. It can be gradient in the conclusion, collage and like very mixed media-ish in the middle, and the stroke in the conclusion and the gradient in the intro. So that was there. This were again few random compositions I did. Yeah, so finally, like let me just summarize the process process I followed for specifically for this project. So I started with offering viewpoints, portraying anything I have in my mind on paper, then objective setting, which is premise and synopsis. Premise is basically one liner of the whole script of the whole story, and synopsis can be a paragraph. Then stating everything, the final, not the final script, but that 6-7 pages I came up with. Then shortlisting and setting thoughts. That can be the final script, and that can be this part as well. The appearances of the ideas I had in my mind, the hard storyboard on the paper. Then building the ideas, the final design, then bringing them to life. That would be animation. Yeah, so now we finally start the production process. Let me know if you guys have any questions till now. Or should I just move ahead? Okay, cool. Everybody's silent. I'll just go on. Um, so now we finally move to the mood board, the production process. So this was the mood board I started with. The combination of gradients, collage, typography, textures, elements, and hand-drawn elements and the brush strokes. So I wanted to use gradients as my master, like colors and all of that stuff. The visual, the main like visual like look, like the main visual look. Um, I also wanted to use collage in some way, like especially in the act two. So it looks more chaotic, clumsy. This was from the Buck. This is from Oddfellows. This is from Blink My Bin. And yeah, so typography. So like for sure, I wanted to use type in some way because the script was kind of abstract. So type the type like helped me communicate throughout the video. So whenever like something abstract comes, I used to like put type. Yeah, so types and combination of various fonts to just make it interesting and feed like again like with the collage like direction we went for. Textures and then the elements. So there were like few like so I usually like find like try to find the kind of elements I want to use as a pillar like as a pillar elements for the compositions, because if like this always like helps like me to like bring consistency throughout the video. And whenever like I need to balance my composition, I just put like this kind of elements like anywhere like well like when needed. So this were the kind of elements I wanted to use. I think this is from Arc as well. Not sure. Yeah. And the finally the hand drawn look. Yes. Again, like pillar elements for the like design elements for the hand drawn part. Yeah. After that, we finally come up with the storyboards. So like according to the mood board and the like doodle sketches I did, I started doing the rough storyboard and sketches, but I my drawing skills are like horrible. Like I understand what I did, but none of my teacher like understood what I was like trying to communicate. So that's why at the end I had to make this mixed media style storyboard where there are like lots of vectors, hand drawn elements, like stocks images and all of that stuff. So yeah, even the storyboard is very mixed media-ish. So the very basic process of the storyboard, which I followed in like this one was like keeping the script in mind and like stuff like starting like breaking down the script and just starting with like single sentences. So process I followed here was for example I'll just wait, let me just stop sharing and let's start sharing Illustrator. So
So Raj, someone has a question for you. If you check the chat. Also, if, like people could turn the cameras on because it feels like pretty like we are just looking at screens with their DPs. So if possible, if like anyone can like people can turn their cameras on.
so we have a question from Madhav. How was your process for a personal university project like this before from a client? So I think the number one thing is freedom. It was just me. I was just my client. I just had to like take approval from the faculties. But I think the freedom is the most. It will be the. It's. I think it's the thing which differ from the personal project and the university project. From the client project. So I think even like Rishabh like do all the client like work with me. Rishabh, do you also want to add like something here?
Yeah, I think like I agree with you on this. I think the first thing is the freedom, and the second is because like you don't have to negotiate anything with anyone. Like you are your own boss, and even if the faculties are like, okay, this doesn't work, but as a creative, if like maybe he felt that no, this is the right direction for him, then he would go with it. And also there are no like budgets involved. There is no team. Like you don't have to do client management. It's just you trying to do your own thing. And because you're also so passionate about it, because it's your own thing, you are going to put in more nights. You are going to spend your weekends working on this. Because normally we don't like do that. We don't do overtime work or stuff like that. So when it's your own personal project, it's like your own. It's like your own baby. So you put in that much effort, and I think it also shows in the end product. And when it's a personal project, you can take more risks than you can with the client, because again with the client there are budgets involved and you can't like take their money and do whatever you want to do. So again when you're doing a personal project, you can like it's your time and your money going in, so you can take more risks as well. So I think that, like for me, those like points are, yeah, what differ.
Hmm. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Madhav.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Um,
I have a follow up sort of a thought on that. Like how a this is just for like personal projects and stuff. How do you I mean, this has happened to me in the past, especially with personal projects where the deadline just goes away and away. There is no deadline in a personal project, unfortunately. So how do you, I don't know, how do you go around that?
okay, so actually, this, like even that happened to me as well. That I usually like leave all of my personal project once the client project comes in, because you need to pay bills as well. But in specifically in this one, I had like deadline, so I had to like follow like college, like universities, like deadline. Otherwise, they would just fail me. So yeah, so in special in this one, I had deadline. But like yeah, like I think it's hard for like me as well to like cope up with personal
Sure.
and client projects together. I'll where were we? We were doing the storyboards, right? I'll quickly show one demo of the the process of the storyboard I followed. Can you guys see the illustrator?
Yes.
Okay, just give me a second.
And normally there's also a template that we have, so it's a completely free template that we use, where they like stuff is already there on the screen. You just have to fill the boxes. So right now, I don't think like Raz has those files, but I think he'll add it on the Discord channel after the call.
Yeah, I think that template is from Studio Binders. It's available free if you just search for that. Yeah, so specifically for this project, I for one line. So for example, if the line is once upon a time, then for the one line, I created a set of storyboards. Basically, so this can be one sequence, this can be one sequence, this can be one sequence, and this can be one sequence of the same line. So this is all for once upon a time, but all of these approaches are like completely different from like one another. If one has like type included in it, then the second will have like super collagey and like geometric shapes, and third can be like hand drawn. The fourth can be like the mix of all of these three. So once you have the set of like four like different options just for one line, now you have like lots of things, and now you can remix it as you like for like for deciding the transitions and the animations and the compositions, and this approach, like what I saw, like this approach usually gives you very unique and like this remix everything very well once you like mix match all the options. So if you like if this black like combines with this green, then it would be something very different and experimental. So this was the approach I like followed for the storyboard. Yeah.
And so when there were multiple shots, and for every shot you like did this, well, like when he did this, then in the end, because you're iterating constantly for each and every shot, like in the end you just get something that where each shot doesn't look the same, or the transition in each shot looks kind of different. So when you're mindful of, okay, in this shot if I have used this kind of transition and this is what is happening, if this shot is very tight heavy, then the next shot maybe you don't do tight heavy and you do something based on shape. And so just try everything for each shot and then see which approach works best for the particular shot. So for example, the first shot is, this is a story of nothing. So for that he tried out something which was very shape based. He tried something which is very typography based, like as he said. And after exploring everything, he landed on, okay, for this shot, going with a type based approach is the best thing to do. And that is, and in the end, it's all about communication, like visually what communicates what you want to communicate. So in that case, it was typography. So like when you do that for each and every shot, you just get more clarity on what is working the best, like what communicates the particular line the best.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this was one of the way I did storyboarding, and then after like doing that, or after all the refinements, I finally came up with. Wait, I'll just share my screen again. Yeah, so I finally came up with this storyboard. So like yeah, so this is the template which Rishabh was talking about. So we put the script in there, and we just put like visuals, and this is the sequence. Yeah, so this was the storyboards.
Raz, there are
Um,
two questions on the chat for you.
Guys, I think we'll take up questions towards the end. We have to still time keep a little bit, so we can go ahead right now with the presentation.
yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So visual development part. So I think Rishabh, like this was the stage where Rishabh joined me. Like till now, I was just doing everything alone. So in terms of visual developments, the first thing we followed was the mood board. After the mood board, like in all the projects, we usually like don't like start just creating style frames as like storyboard. We like start like we first start with the few like 4 or 5 like major shots from the film, and we just start like doing experiments. So if you see, this was the first like very first shot of the film, but like it looks like this before, and there was this shot when it says can you hear or something. So it was something like this before. Then
Raz, can you go up to the mood board one?
yeah,
So normally when we start with the mood board, we start like before, like we start mood board, we start writing keywords of. So like Raz knew what his concept was, what he wanted to communicate. So based on that, he had a number of keywords, and based on those keywords, then he started making the mood board. Now when we make the mood board, we don't just like randomly put in images, because because we had like very less time, we had to make a mood board which is very concise, and we know exactly what we like from each section of the mood board. So for example, when the first part is about gradient, so we are stating, okay, we see and there are more images, but right now, like just to put it on Behance, like this is the set which like he has put in. But when you say gradients, then you can see visually what kind of gradients is it that he's looking at. So when normally when this is for a client presentation, we put multiple like types of gradients as well. So one gradient can be just a 3 color gradient. One color can be a multicolor gradient. One can have a very different sort of look. And then we just write down why we have put the images down on the mood board, so that even we remember, and when we show it to maybe the client or the professor, they know why we have put them like the specific images in the mood board. For example, uh, yeah, so for example, in one of, so there are multiple grades on the screen right now, but the one on the left has been put in for a very different reason than the one on the right. So the one on the right has been put in for the combination of gradients with flat color, so that is why that reference has been put in. So again, when this is for a client project, we have more images and more just descriptions of why we have put in images on the deck. So just like for gradients, we do that for everything. Then when we say collage, we have a lot of different images of collages. And last thing, scroll down.
yeah. Sorry, just a second. Yeah,
Yeah, same again, same for typography and yeah, all the other sections. So again, when we say textures, it can mean so many different things. Like, if you only write texture, then what you are thinking in your mind and what the final output is, it's like there's a huge gap between that. So just putting everything in this stage where it also helps you get clarity, and also helps the client, or in this case the professor, get clarity in terms of what you are thinking. So all of this is done just so that you and whoever the other person is who needs to approve it has more clarity on what is it that you're trying to make. So this is like one sort of an approach where we have everything very detailed down in the mood board state. But there are also times when we don't make a very detailed mood board, where we have like bare minimum for the mood board, and we just start experimenting, and that gives us the final look that we want. But that happens very rarely, because to do something like that, you need a lot of time, where the sole purpose is just experimenting, and you are basically creating the stuff that is going to go in your mood board. So that happens very rarely. Most of the time, because times are short and budgets are also limited, you have a very detailed mood board which gives you and the client more clarity. And when we
Yeah.
start, again, after the storyboard, sorry, before the storyboard, we have this. Based on the mood board, we know that, okay, is like this, these are the kind of shapes that we want. This is the sort of shapes that we have. So that will help us in building the storyboard. So if for example, my entire mood board is built up of say abstract shapes, when I'm making the storyboard, I'll make sure there is no shot where there is a realistic hand in the mix, or there is live action in that mix. Because in the mood board, I have decided that I'm not going to have live action, because one, it is out of my budget, or it is out of our expertise. So we're only going to stick to say abstract shapes. So doing the mood board before the storyboard gives us that advantage. So after we do that, after we have the storyboard, we don't directly start building like refined style frames for everything. So if we have, say in the storyboard, if we have say 20 frames, we take say 3 frames and build out those 3 frames as well as we can. So we try out everything that we can. Basically the design process happens in those 3 frames, where we basically discover that, okay, this is the kind of gradients that we want to have. This is the kind of colors that we want to have. So basically, we are building a visual library for the whole video in those 3 style frames. That, okay, these 3 style frames are going to be our anchor. This is what the entire video should look like. And again, there are exceptions where, say, the entire video, the styles are changing throughout. So again, obviously there are exceptions, but as a standard, this is what we do. We just take 2 3 frames, build them out, show them to the client or the professor, get them approved that, okay, this is the sort of look that we want to go with. Once that is approved, then we start building all the other style frames, like the final style frames, basically. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. For the visual development. So one more like really interesting thing which Rishabh taught me for like specifically for this project. I think that will that will answer Atharva's question as well. So Rishabh, can you also go through like this part which we did at that time, color combination thing?
Yeah, so the question is, what was your thought process for choosing the color palette for the film? So again, Raz had his keywords that this is the sort of feeling that he wants, and again, based on that, he had built a mood board. So when you have the mood board in front of you, so there's a feature in Photoshop. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but basically it will pixelate the whole thing for you when you use Photoshop. So what he did was,
Posterize. I think it's posterize.
yeah, I'm not sure like exactly what it's called. So basically, so when again in the mood board you saw some images which look very different visually. So we also made a mood board separate just for the color palette, where we said, okay, this combination of colors really feels like something that can fit in nothing. And all of those images look very in the very same zone visually. So we collect all of them, put it in one artboard, use Photoshop, and basically what we'll do, it will pixelate the entire image. So when the entire image is pixelated, all you can see is colors. And then from that, put it in Illustrator and make a color palette out of just using the eyedropper and building color palette. So in the initial pass, you will say have 15 to 20 colors, which is a lot. After that, so this is something that I usually do when I'm building out color palettes. I just have a square with 2 circles, or again, like how many shapes that we want to have, and then just try out color combinations. That which color fits well with which color. For example, like all colors won't work well with all colors, because of like if the contrast is not working or if the values are not working. So we make this just to understand which color works well with what color. And after we have built this a cohesive palette of sorts, after that, then we can decide, okay, this we are going to put in this shot, this we are going to put in this shot, this we are going to put in this shot. So again, we start with that, but when we are actually designing, things change a lot, because then while designing, you just intuitively know that, okay, this is maybe not working. You can maybe tweak the colors a bit. So this is just a starting point to have a base to then start building upon.
Yeah. Yes. So basically, you already like at the visual development part, you already have all the set of colors while like making the style frame. So it's like much faster and much easier way to like do the design part.
Yeah, and I guess
Yeah.
so like because after doing the scripting and storyboarding, like the like time to actually produce everything was really less. So
Hmm.
and this happens usually during client projects also. Every time they have a very short deadline. So like just making the art process more streamlined and easier for ourselves is like that is why we try to do things like these which make the process easier for us. And obviously when you have more time you can experiment, but in this case there like was no time to actually sit and try each and
Hmm.
everything. So having a
Yeah.
detailed mood board and just detailing everything out really helps.
Hmm. Yeah. So these were the final style frames we came up with. So these are again not in the sequence, not in the order of the film. Yeah. So these were the few of them.
So one more
Yeah.
thing to add for the visual development. So when you're creating things again, like as I said, like time was really short. So normally it is preferred that you make all like as many assets as you can. For example, the gradients, the textures, if you can. But in this case, we knew that we didn't really have much time to build out the textures or do it all ourselves. So I am sure that everyone knows that there are packs available of textures. So a paper texture or hand-drawn textures or stuff like that, or a newspaper texture. So we just went online and sourced all the different textures and just put it in one folder, and then just started experimenting with which texture works well where. Because if you start building each and everything out, then it's going to take a lot. Like it's going to take a lot of time for you to actually produce it, and when you have less time, it is really not viable. So
Hmm.
when
Yeah.
time is short, you can just like use assets, but obviously not everything. You can't just rip designs off of people, but stuff like textures, you can like use packs. Like you can use texture packs basically.
Yeah.
And wherever you can't, you obviously have Photoshop and you can just do stuff. So I think all the design it's a combination of using textures, like stock textures, and a combination of just doing hand-drawn bits and just combining things on Photoshop. So when you are taking stuff from the internet, like it's good, like it's better if you try to like make it your own. Just put it in Photoshop, like hue saturate it, combine it with more textures, and just use use the textures as raw ingredients and then do your own thing to it. You rather than using it directly as it comes from the pack.
Hmm. Cool. Yeah, so let's quickly like just end this part so we can like move to the after effects as well because I think we are already out of time. So these were the few accolades for the film. I applied in few film festivals and this was the few official selection. And yeah, these were the credits. I did the direction and script. Rishabh helped me with the design. Voiceover was done like by one of our faculty, Samit Kumar Pradhan, Samit sir, and animation again me. Sound design and mixing was King Kalmi. Check out his Instagram. His Instagram ID is King Kalmiya. And my mentor from university was Pradeep Patil. Yeah. So yes, let's quickly like do the After Effects like breakdown. So do you guys have any specific like shots which you would like to me like you like should I like break down or um should I just go like randomly? Cool. Yeah. So just stop me if like some if anybody has like questions regarding like After Effects file. Yeah. I'll just share. Can you guys see After Effects? Okay, cool. So what shot we should start with? Yeah, so I think this was the second shot. It's bursting out from the suit. Okay, so the color bursting out from the suit was, I think, this shot. Yeah, so basically, I like once we like did all the style frames, I like imported all the Photoshop layers, and like when we like made this like design like style frame, everything was in different layer, so it's like easier for like me to like import all the like everything in different layer. So this was the background, this was the texture layer, this was the explosion. So for this one, I used pre-made matte, the black and white matte from I don't know, some very random pack it was. So this was there. So like this initially burst, like this part burst first, and then I think this one was from the Photoshop. So everything, all the strokes and everything was in different layer itself. Like when we did all the design, and I used stroke effect. So I'll just uh, solo this one. So for example, if we have like this three strokes in one layer, I just masked it like three different masks for three different strokes, and then I use stroke effect and selected all masks. And usually, like basically, this works like trim path. So if you if you just make the mask and in the paint style you just do reveal original image, it will basically like reveal all the image as like how like usual trim path works. So every like all of this like burst was like done with the same method. What else we have here? So basically the whole idea of the shot was to keep like for the transition of next shot, the whole idea was to like keep getting simple after the shot. So basically, it started with this image, like this stock image, and then with that, this solid shapes keeps like adding up, and at the moment, I just do the hard cut, and it becomes this red shape, and then this like shapes comes up, and everything else is yeah. So this was that shot. Atharva, do you have any other questions for this shot? And yeah, one more thing I did throughout the film for the moving textures. So this wall, like this is a Ben Marriott like trick. So like there is this tutorial of to create this kind of boiling effect. So when you want this stop motion kind of look, just add posterize time, turbulence displacement with size like the like super big size, and then one more turbulence displacement with the amount like more and size less this time. So it gives this like very stop motiony look. If you just see this image, so it like keeps moving throughout the shot. So this was one of that. And I just made this template of FX, and I just like use this adjustment layer in mostly all of the shots. Mm, let's just see this frame. So animation was like technically it's not difficult at all. Like it was like pretty straightforward. So once we had like this style frame. So this was the like style frame I got from Photoshop. Uh, and yeah, so I used like different kind of like masks, like pre-made masks to reveal this rectangles. So it comes like this, then it has it has their own like secondary movements. Then now the text come in, all the text comes in. So mostly the throughout the shot for the animation, I just used hold frames because I really wanted that harsh stop motion look for like specifically for this shot. And here everything is like manual, so I did this hard cuts with like different fonts just for this effect. And if you see time layer, the same with the time this time comp as well. So let's just see this side by side too. Yeah, so like one like when they start moving like this like all of this like start moving to like go to their final position. This this flashing of type just starts, so it doesn't look too plain when they are moving. And like usually I don't like diagonal movements, so that's why there are like two different kind of like movements from like this point to wait, let me just clear this. Yeah, so first is this movement, then there is this movement, and then there is this movement. So now it becomes like everything just comes in one line for the next shot to transition, and I just anticipate, and then we cut from this to the next shot. Uh, yeah.
So just like one more thing in terms of the transition. So like normally when I think like when Raz was making the mood board, storyboard, he had a rough idea of what the transitions
Hmm.
could be. But then when he was actually animating, like he came up with more. So like I think Raz, you can add a bit more on that because I think that would be helpful. The transitions of how you like came up with that.
Hmm. Yeah, so like while doing the storyboards, like we just like made this frame and then this frame. So there are like thousand ways to like come from like this frame to this frame. So I had a rough idea that we have lots of overlapping elements. So for example, once upon a time in type we have here as well. So like in the time of animation, I can like somehow I can like reach here. So that's why like to reach here, like this was like pure improvisation, like honestly. So I didn't decide that like like it will have like two movements like this, and then we anticipate and then we come here. So like this that was like pure improvisation, like while like I jumped in After Effects. But like I had a very rough idea that like that like it will be like really easy to like cut from once upon a time to again once upon a time to like rip this. Yeah. Like afterwards when you like jump into like After Effects, it's all about your like animation sense and your taste. How do you like your motion to be? So yeah.
And also the thing that Raz talked about where like he makes four different storyboards for one shot is so that is when and when that doesn't work, then what Raj said, that's just improvising. But a lot of times what we do is we just have again the first frame and the last frame, we have those two, and now what do we do in between to reach the last frame? So that exploration also happens a lot.
Yeah, but like when we are doing the client projects, usually you have to like decide everything from the storyboard phase itself to like take approvals and stuff. But in this like project, I had like lot of freedom, so I can like improvise and like see like what works and what doesn't work. Um. Okay. Good shot. I think we can like see this shot as well. So this, I think a lot of people actually ask me that how did you animate gradients? So it was like purely like again like it was like experimental. So I tried like different distortion like effects like which like inbuilt effect which After Effects have. So this was done through the ripple effect, and yeah, just the ripple effect. Both of them, the background and foreground. What else we have in After Effects? Do you guys have anything else which you would like me to uh, show? If you have any questions
Hey, hi Raz.
regarding,
So
hi.
there was this audio reactive, right, where you ask, like the person asked to close her eyes and feel that. So there's this rhythm where you animate the waves and all. So if you could just elaborate on that.
Yeah. That shot. Wait, let me just find that comp here. Hmm. Yeah. So if you're asking about the reactive part of the waves, so I actually did it manually. So I did this, like I animated the scale of this triangle. If I just play it, and I used the voiceover in this comp as a guide layer, so I have something to uh, get the reference, and I like animated this manually with the voice, so it was not any kind of effect from like After Effects, the audio reactive effects. So it was done manually, and then after that, wait, let me just solo this layer. After I animated the triangle, so it looked like this, and then I used wave up and the warp effect to make this like wavy, but it was not quite like, so basically this was not quite working out as per the style frame which we made. So I did this trick where so I took that part from the pre-composition and cropped it half with a mask, yeah, with the mask, and then copied it and did the scale minus 10, sorry, minus 10 100, to make this exactly symmetrical to the upper part, so it looks like symmetrical as per the style frame. And for the right side I used mirror effect, so now everything is like symmetrical, the top part, the bottom part, and left and right. And the audio reactive thing was manually done, it was manually animated.
Yeah, it looks super smooth. So yeah, understood.
Thank you. Okay.
Raz Kavya is asking about the cube shot.
Yeah, let me just open that comp. So these were the PNG sequences I took from Cinema 4D. So we animated the cube. We made, I think Rishabh was also there. So we animated this cube with cloner. Yeah. So this was cloner, and we this was all 3D. Everything was animated in 3D, and then we I think we used diffuse. Rishabh, can you like, do you remember
Yeah.
what we did for the?
Yeah, so this, like, we use a cloner to build it, but we couldn't animate it exactly the way we wanted to. So I think I also, like, to be honest, I also don't completely remember how we did it. But
Yeah.
again, we built it using a cloner, and I think we used a plane. So I think we used a plane effector to control the rotation and using it along with field. Again, I'm not sure. I'll check the files and I'll get back to you guys after the presentation. So I'm not too sure how we did it. But then while rendering it out, I know how we rendered it out. So while rendering, I think we use we okay, dude. I'm not really sure how we did this.
Yeah, this was like 6 8 months back, so like we did a
Yeah.
lot of experiment like for this shot, and I like we don't remember exactly how we did this in 3D,
Okay,
but
I think I remember now how we did it. I think this. So we made the setup with the cloner, and then we couldn't animate it the way that you're seeing it right now, where all different segments are moving individually. So we
oh,
made
it
the
was
cloner
three
editable.
different shots.
Yeah. So we made the
Yeah.
cloner editable, and then made three copies of the same file. So we selected one section which we wanted to move, we animated it, rendered it out, and then we selected a different group of cubes, made it like put it inside a group, animated it, rendered it out, and did the same with the third part. So essentially, it's three completely disconnected shots, three different files where just a group of cloners are moving, where we just select a group of cubes, put it in a group, and then just do the rotation. So that is how that was done. And so all the colors have been put in manually because we made it editable, it was outside the cloner, we had to put all the colors manually. And then I think it was rendered out using a sketch and tune shader. So we didn't have any light in the scene. We just cranked up, like I think the brightness on After Effects, but we just had, we just added the base colors manually on C4D and rendered it out using a sketch and tune shader. We can do this even without a sketch and tune shader, but the strokes that you see, we would not get that if we did not use the sketch and tune shader. You can render this out directly from C4D using a standard, using the standard renderer. If you put the texture as, if you just use the illumination, but that wouldn't get you the strokes, the dark lines. So that is why we use the sketch and tune shader. And anyone who's interested, there's a great video by iDesign on YouTube on sketch and tune. So if anyone is interested in sketch and tune, they can check it out. And there's much more that you can do with sketch and tune. It doesn't necessarily have to be flat. You can have dimension also in completely. So it'll have a lot of dimension. It'll have highlights. It'll have shadows, but it'll still look like it's vector. So it's the
I think even Liron has this like C4D workshop kind of thing on sketch and tune. Yeah.
Yes, it's a really cool tool that I don't think many people are using. So check it out. It's really, really fun.
Yeah. And yeah, after bringing all this rendered sequence to After Effects, we stopped here, and then I did all this After Effects magic where I used a mosaic displacement map for these glitches, hue and saturation and coloroma. So basically, that's why it's glitching. So yeah, I think I freeze the frame here or somewhere. Yeah, so basically it's mosaic displacement map, coloroma, hue and saturation for this glitch effect. Anything else? Should we? Do you guys have anything else for the After Effects part?
So I have a question in general. Like you guys had everything planned, storyboard, mood board, and all. But were there any happy accidents that had happened and it made the film even better?
Actually, lots of. So especially in this film, I did lots of improvisation even after the design part. So for example, this part, the glitch one, it was not there, but the only mistake I didn't make the animatic for the film, so I couldn't understand the timings of the different shots. That's why I had to add this whole thing. So we didn't initially decided in the in the storyboards and style frame for this part, and then just to connect all these shots this from here I did all these glitches, these flashes, because it says lots of things or something here, and then it turns to this gradient to become this shot. So basically this were again the improvisation directly in After Effects I did.
So with regards to the animatic, normally when again when we have more time and when it is for a client, we build detailed animatics where, for example, if we have the style frames and if we have the style frames ready, and if we have the sound design ready at that point, we just take the style frames and put it in a very rough edit. So just style frames cut with the music, just one style frame after the other, just so that we have a sense of the timing. And if it is a 3D project, we do that along with just having hardware renders. So basically, it is not rendered in any render engine. It is straight out of C4D. So it just takes seconds to render out a sequence. So normally 3D renders take a lot of time, but when we are having a hardware render from Cinema 4D or whatever software you're using, it's just faster to make an edit and then send it out to the client. And when you're doing this, you can also make multiple versions of the edit. For example, in specific projects, maybe some projects might not be very sequence driven, where there are just a lot of abstract shots which make up the film. So in those cases, when you have an animatic, you can have different versions of the same film, because the sequence doesn't really matter. You can just try different shots and just see which one works the best. So I think like a lot of product driven videos, I think that at least I have noticed, have this sort of treatment to them, where a lot of times they might not have very specific shot one after the other. They just you just experiment and then see which animatic works the best. So it's just a quick and easy way to have the final film in front of you without doing the rendering and stuff like that. So it just saves time and money.
Like without animating, you know the sense of timing of the film and the flow, and which is like really easy for like client approvals as well, especially for 3D stuff. Yeah. Anything else for the After Effects part?
I think we're running out of time. So if you guys have any
Yeah.
questions in general, not just about the After Effects part. Also, I think there were a couple of questions that we kept for the end. One was by Athar. What was your thought process for choosing the color palette for the film?
So I think we already covered like that questions. I think Rishabh explained that. Athava, is your question answered?
Athar, do
think
you
he
have
has
any
written.
follow-up?
I think it's written on the chat that
Yeah.
like
Okay, cool then. There was another question by Madhav. Was there a style brief, or is this a representation of your personal visual sensibilities?
So style brief, as in like style brief from the college you are talking about? Can you just go again, Mother? If I think he's not
Yeah, I
here.
don't think he's not on the call
Yeah.
anymore.
But I think we've kind of covered that also, like when we made the mood board.
Visual.
So again, based on the keywords. So for example, the movie was called Nothing, but in the end, it's like his concept was, in the end, that is that gives you space to be, that gives you space to do whatever you want to do or just exist. So and he wanted to contrast it with the word nothing. So when you have nothing, and when you put everything, like when you have hand drawn, you have collage, when you have stop motion, when you have vector. So we just felt that it was a good juxtaposition of what the name is, what it means, and how we can show it visually. So that was how the mixed media style came to be.
Basically, the metaphorical embodiment of lots of things but nothing. No, very short.
Cool. If anybody else has any questions, please, you can ask them.
So the sound design is done after making the whole film, right? You guys only have the voiceover to begin with.
Yeah. So like parallelly, like with the storyboards, I recorded the sound with my faculty before even the storyboard part. The voiceover came before that, and sound design was after everything was done.
Okay.
The Foley sounds and all of that.
So normally, when we are doing projects, a lot of time, people don't have the budget to make a custom track. So we use sites like Premium Beat, or just different. There are a lot of website where you can source sound from, and we just before we begin animating or making an edit, we just find sounds that we think meet the brief, present it to the client, they select it, and then we start. Then we basically just use it. But also a lot of times we need to make custom sound, but we don't have it right from the beginning. But we still need to make an edit. So again, we find sounds which are similar, use it as a reference to give it to the sound designer, and also use the track as a what do you call it? As a reference point of
The
now can you
timing.
elaborate in of the timing basically
Yeah. So
of the
Yeah.
pacing. I think that makes more sense. So we find tracks which have a very similar pace to what we want our final sound design to be, and give it to the sound designer as a uh, like as a guide. And after that is done, after the entire film is finished, then we add Foley sounds, or we can do it beforehand also, where we just have specific notes given to after the animatic. We just give the animatic to the sound designer and tell him that okay, at this point, this is what is happening. This is the kind of sound we want. At this point, this is what is happening. This is the kind of sound we want. So a lot of input also goes from the motion designers to the sound designers in terms of like what kind of sound you want and where it is supposed to come. So it's a very like we write a very detailed thing when we are working for clients that this we basically have the brief for the sound designers as well.
Okay. So you guys prepare a rough thing, because I saw ki some things are also animating based on the sound effects. So if the sound effect is built after the animation, so I was just a bit confused.
yeah,
It was
so
added after.
mostly for this, yeah, the sound design and all the like music and everything else was after the animation. So I think he synced it with the pacing and the timing of the animation. But I like completely like this was voiceover driven from like very start. So I used voiceover for my reference.
Okay,
So,
makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
so in some projects where there is no voice over, so then whatever transitions are happening only happen based on the soundtrack. So it's a very soundtrack driven video where all the cuts that we are having, all the match cuts we are having, or like whatever cuts that we have are based on the track itself. But this video was more like relying heavily on the voiceover. So all the transitions
Yeah.
happen based on the voiceover. So even though there might be a very definite beat in the soundtrack which you can use as a cut point, that wasn't like his priority. It was like again because it was voiceover driven video, all the cut points and transitions happen based on the voiceover and not based on the track. The sound beats, the cut points are added after, as Raz said, after the animation is done, and then the sound designer custom makes the sound according to the animation.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Then we've reached the end of this talk. Thanks so much, Raz and Rishabh, both for preparing such an amazing sort of talk and sharing like behind the process. I think what was also amazing to see is how you all have documented the project and how you've put together the pre-production stage. It goes to show so much of the magic actually happens there. And it was really cool that as a personal project, you did something like this. And hopefully, even though now after college, you sort of continue doing other personal projects so that, we get to see more of that passion coming out. And of course, so we had shared some links of Raz and Rsquare both. Rsquare is the studio they run. It's on the chat in the beginning. And so Raz, where else can people connect with you, find you? Obviously on the Discord channel, whoever's there,
Yeah.
feel free to ask him more questions and things about this or about other things that he's doing. And so Raz, your website and things are
So for now we don't have any personal website. My personal website or even Rsquare's website. You guys can like connect with us in Instagram or email or even in the Discord. And I think we also have a Slack channel called F9. You guys can like join there and like connect there as well.
And you guys can check out our like Behance as well if you want to, because we really like to document our process because it really helps. It makes things clear for us that if we are also stuck at some point, we also refer back to our project that okay, what worked on this project in terms of the process. So we have more projects on our Behance where like basically like just like this project, everything is just laid out in front of you of how we did, like what was our process was. So I think you
Hmm.
can check out Behance for that. And you can
Yeah,
reach out on Instagram as just DM on Instagram.
yeah. And I'll be also releasing this documentation of nothing in Behance as well in a day or two. So everything will be online.
Great. Thank you both so much again, and thanks everyone else for joining. And we look forward to seeing all of you again. We'll probably do another talk in the coming end of the month or beginning of next month. So yeah, keep checking out the Discord page and yeah, stay connected.
Well, thank you guys for joining in. I hope this was a little helpful and insightful. We will just drop off now.
Yeah, I think we can end the call. Thank you guys so much for doing this talk. It's really enlightening.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. Bye.